if you struggle with negative self-belief or negative thoughts, it's a really, really simple concept that flips everything. It flips everything. And I'm going to walk you through the simple process from beginning to the 4 questions to the inversion technique at the end. I'm very happy to share it with you because it's such a strong tool. So let's dive right in. So step number 1 is to notice. And by noticing, I mean noticing the negative emotion that happened or the situation in which the negative emotion arose. And in this case today, I met a new friend that I just made this weekend. We met this weekend on a party, and I just met him on a scooter with a girl. And on the party, we had beautiful and deep conversations. So it's someone that I already feel a connection with and that I do not necessarily want to impress, but like want to have a good relationship with. And while we were having the short conversation on the scooter, I told him, or with his girl, that I'm not even wearing any underwear because I needed to wash my clothes today to take care of things, that I've made this Monday like a Sunday to just like be with myself. And they went for breakfast. And this might be a funny thing, but the negative self-belief I immediately developed when I got back on the scooter was, man, you're weird. Why are you telling them about not wearing underwear? What's wrong with you? And the belief I had was I'm not good at socializing. And the negative emotions that arose right after, while being on the scooter, they went somewhere else, and I was like, man, I'm kind of afraid of being disliked. Maybe that was weird. Maybe I'm weird. That's another one I can just like, maybe I'm weird, right? Or not normal. That's one I have quite often. That was just like a thought I had, or fear of being uncool in front of others, or eventually also the fear of being alone, of not making friends because of all those negative self-beliefs. Actually, those are not. Fear is the main emotion, but like those are self-beliefs. They go like together in a way. So I noticed, right? So we can put all this into noticing. The next step would be to pick one, that's number 2, to pick one self-belief. In this case, I'm going to pick, I'm not good at socializing, or maybe we can even choose another one. That would be, Nico, who's the friend, thinks I'm weird, right? That's maybe the thing I noticed. So the next question would be, after we noticed, is it true? Is it true that Nico thinks I'm weird? And there can only be one answer, and it's a yes or no answer. And, or is this belief, maybe I mix it up a little bit, but nevertheless, we can also say, Nico does not like me, right? That's another one. But is it true? I think not. I think actually like he still likes me, but that moment, that fear arose in that moment. So I would say the answer is no. If it would be a yes, we would have go to step number 3. Do I know for sure that it's true, right? Or do I absolutely know that it's true? And in this case, let's answer it nevertheless. I said no already, so I can skip number 3. But if I would have said yes, is it true? Yes, he thinks I'm weird. Do I absolutely, or do I know for sure that he thinks I'm weird? The answer would be no. So it's a double no. That's why we skipped it this time. But for yourself or your self-belief, answer number 3 if it was a yes in step number 2. So step number 4 now would be, what did I do? Or let me look it up. What did I do? How did I behave in that situation or after that situation? In this case, in that situation, I began creating self-doubt. Like even while talking, I realized, dude, maybe you're weird while you're talking about your underwear. But at the same time, I was creating a bit of like fear, judgment, and self-doubt on the scooter, right? Those are things that happened right after the situation. And those are all negative emotions. So I realized that. And it's good to explore them, to write them down and see how the behavior or how the thought actually changes your actions and changes how you act in the world. Maybe I would say maybe I was less focusing on traffic as well. It was just something that happened in that moment. And step number 4, maybe I'm mixing things up, but we'll get into it. Step number 5 in this case, we'll get into it a bit later, the 4 questions, is who would I be would I be without that thought? So if I didn't think maybe I'm weird, who would I be then? Or if I didn't think he thinks I'm uncool, or I'm weird or something like that, I would just be the same. Like my life would absolutely continue, and they would be going to the breakfast and most likely not think about me or that behavior at all. So just myself, no negative consequences. So who would I be? How would I be? Yeah, who or how would I be? I would be completely normal. I would just continue with my life. So in this moment, I typically realize that my negative consequences or my doubts are actually having a negative impact. If I wouldn't have had the doubt, then I wouldn't think of myself as weird. And now we can continue with one last step, and that is the inversion. Inversion of the thought. Okay, let's take the thought this time. Those two. Nico thinks I'm weird. The inversion of Nico would be I think I'm weird. I think I'm not weird. Nico thinks I'm not weird. Okay, those would be like trying to invert all of the elements of the sentence that have an impact. So this one is actually true. It was all me. So I think I'm weird. Yes, that's what I thought. Otherwise, I wouldn't think that he thinks I'm weird. So this is true. I created the thought that he thinks I'm weird. I think I'm not weird. That's also true. Actually, maybe like in a positive, quirky way, but I think I'm not more weird, or at least not with any negative consequences. So that's also true. And Nico thinks I'm weird. I don't think so. I think we had like deep conversations. We had lots of fun. He reached out to me a couple hours later, said we should meet for coffee or dinner this week. So no, I think that thought or that statement is just as true. And we can do the same for the like me, but it's pretty much the same. We can skip this one. And I end up with exploring the thought even deeper and realizing that first of all, I made up the idea that I'm weird. I don't honestly think I'm weird. And he reached out to me, going for dinner, coffee. Why would he do that if he honestly thinks I'm weird? So now by kind of dissecting the thoughts from noticing to asking, or like in a way almost like weakening it, but just asking it the question. The weakening is something that happens on an almost like emotional level by itself. Then going deeper, that even if it's slightly weakened, may I know for 100%? No, I may not know that he thinks I'm weird. How would I? Only if I ask him. And I can ask him next days, right? It's unlikely, but I can just ask him when I really think so. And then I realized that now I've created the self-doubt myself, and it had negative consequences on maybe my security, my safety, but also just on my self-judgment overall. And then I realized just now that I would be better off without that thought, and it would have seriously no negative consequences. And if I look into that thought deeper, nobody thinks I'm weird, never me nor him, and I just made it up myself. So this is the power of the work. There's a good reason why it's called the work, because it's something you have to do. You have to do like with every thought. But I realized when I was introduced to it, I immediately began practicing it the same day, over and over. Whenever something negative happened, popped up, and I just began asking it the 4 questions and looking for inversions. Not always maybe in like the right, perfect format or steps, but most importantly, like almost all the time, I realized, dude, you're making this up. Like it's unlikely. Just behave as if you didn't have that thought. And it's incredible what that does to me, and that's why I wanted to share it. So this is my version of it. Not really my version. I'm happy to go into the real thing. where just to make sure that I got everything right. Noticing, writing, questioning the 4 questions. Is it true? Can you absolutely know? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? Who or what would you be without that thought? And then to turn it around. So I got everything correctly. I made everything right from my mind. And a few more quotes that just underline this, because I have trouble when I meet like a new methodology right away. First I'm the skeptic. And by looking at quotes I remembered, or like I vaguely remembered, one from Epictetus was, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's exactly what this is. That was already being said by the great Stoic. And by Viktor Frankl, positive psychologist, he also says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and our response lies our growth and freedom. What's different here is, instead of choosing the space between stimulus and response, we go back to the stimulus and look at our response and question it. This is pretty much what we do with the work from Byron Katie. And it's an interesting thing, but here Todd Rose said the hardest part of learning something new is not embracing new ideas, but letting go of old ones. And that's what's happening here. Like, the self-belief in your thoughts, or in my thoughts in this case, thinking that it's true, and then just asking myself, do I really know that it's true? What are the other options? This is me introducing a new idea about myself and changing my belief, then changing my emotion, and therefore changing my action. And as Dr. Phil said, everybody should do everything they can do to help themselves. I'm applying it because I feel so much better. Honestly, I can't wait to dissect more and more of this. I'm just doing it with the new ones, but I look forward to doing it with existing self-beliefs that have a negative impact on me. And self-doubt and self-criticism are major ones. I am very happy to share the framework in Workflowy. You can copy it to Notion or whatever you feel like is your kind of tool that you work with to journal, really, because this is a journaling practice for me at least, but it gets into real life as well. And I'd say that's pretty much it. I'll share it with you in the notes or somewhere in the video here as well, so you can download it to your Workflowy, and let me know your thoughts if you're familiar with it, and give me a comment if you have a situation where you applied it and it may have changed your idea or self-belief about it. And I will quite likely apply this 2 or 3 more times in YouTube as well, just so you can follow along and practice for yourself in moments that are not only self-created, but also moments with others. So thank you very much. I hope it helps you or suits you as well, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.